Good morning, Tarkov. Been a few days. How's everyone doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing all right. Needed a little bit of a recharge on the Good Morning Tarkov because we're going to talk about that a little bit later today as well. It needs to change a little bit because it is, in fact, I think the last time, actually, I know the last time that we actually had a Good Morning Tarkov, I talked about this a little bit. It's having a weird effect on the channel where I've built my following based off of these super short and these very pinpoint videos. And now I'm doing these 1 hour long shows where, yes, I can actually communicate with you guys much better. I can interact with you guys much better. It allows me to do the longer topics and it's still me. But I don't know. For some reason, there's just a lot of people that don't seem to I don't know, get it, I guess. So there's going to need to be some changes with Good Morning Tarkov. It's still going to be a thing. I think what I'm going to do instead is it's not going to be every day. I'm going to figure out like a better schedule for it, and there's going to be some better topics for it. And it just needs to change up a little bit because I did find some things that made it, at least it looks a lot like it's having a weird effect on the channel in general. So we're gonna have to figure out something new to do with with Good Morning Tarkov specifically, but I guarantee you it's not going anywhere. I like doing this. I like hanging with you guys. A lot of you guys obviously like it, so it's not going anywhere. It just needs to be. It either needs a new home or something specifically needs to change with it in order to make it make sense to stay on the channel. Basically, long story short. Anyway. For those that don't know, this is Good Morning Tarkov, usually the daily morning show where we talk everything Tarkov, and we usually just make it so that it's much easier for you guys to communicate. So anything that you would put in the comments section or anything that you would want to talk about in a video, which would usually take me about 15 minutes at least, if not much longer, to get back to you on, and then sometimes the people don't even see the reply, and then it just makes it much more difficult. So if there's something that you want to yell at me for, this is what it's for. So unless a patch drops right on top of us or something like that, there's no gameplay involved. Unless something, like I said, unless a patch drops or if there's something really super specific that I need to show you guys in game, there's no gameplay involved. We just hang out, we talk about the game, we talk about what's coming up, and we talk about any questions that you guys might have about the game and stuff like that. But usually we start with a topic. Today's topic is, I titled this, it's a bit of a quiet time for BSG because they are shutting down significantly in terms of their communication, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today. It's not necessarily a bad thing yet. It's a little bit deflating. It's not like we talked about this because we had that NVIDIA keynote the other day where I thought we were going to see the streets tease on that. Man, I really thought. And you know, at least tell us a little bit about DLSS. They were showing so many games that had the DLSS, which by the way, Nikita did say that DLSS is absolutely coming to Escape from Tarkov. They are going to have DLSS in Escape from Tarkov. I'm not sure why they didn't explain that in the NVIDIA keynote. I don't know. All they talked about was that reflex thing, and yes, we're going to talk about that reflex thing as well. There's a bunch of things in terms of progress that we're going to get to today, and it's just a little bit weird. It's just a little bit of a weird time for BSG, and then we'll as we get up to the present day, we can talk about the present day a little bit. But we'll wait for the numbers to get back up a little bit. So how's everyone doing? Morning, Doglet. Morning, Kenny. Hey, Moosey. Hey, Raleigh. Hey, Michael. Morning, Thick. Morning. I had to make sure that was Hilt. Morning, Hilt. Hi from Australia. Hi from This is totally Tarkov. Yeah, I'm totally speaking to you from Tarkov. First time watching you after watching a bunch of your YouTube videos. Hey, what's up, Edgar? Supreme, how you doing? Morning, Tars. How you doing, man? NVIDIA keynote was more like NVIDIA joke. It was interesting for some games, and it was weird for others. By the way, guys, if any of you guys verbally call any of the... if any of you guys call any of those series of cards a tie, this is the only time I'm going to talk about it. You call it a TI. If I hear any of you guys ever pronounce that tie, you are banned from the Discord. It is not a tie. It is a TI. I don't know. I feel like that's the only guy in NVIDIA that ever called those things a tie. It's like, Polo, you're pushing it, bud. You're pushing it. Don't you dare call them ties. They're not ties. They're TIs. I feel like that was the only guy in the entirety of NVIDIA that called those ties. What the hell was that? Everybody on the rest of the planet Earth calls those TIs. I don't understand that. And then the creepy AI guy. The creepy AI guy is his own thing. I just don't understand it. But that's... Anyway. What's up, Polo? So when the hell is wipe? That's a great question, Ignis. That's a great question. What's funny about all of this is literally nothing has changed. Nothing has changed from what I was thinking. Hell, we very well could still get a tweet today saying that there's a Tarkov TV tomorrow. One change though, now that we're looking at what's going to be possible this week, is I can practically guarantee there will not be a Tarkov TV today. As I say that, watch there be a tweet. Given my track record, which we'll get to in a second, given my track record, I wouldn't be surprised if they tweet that any second now. But they're not. Very unlikely that they will do that. So for this week, in terms of a current timeline, in terms of what's possible, the only thing that's possible right now, or the only thing that's possible for the next thing that we're looking for would be a Tarkov TV. That still hasn't changed. We are not going to have that patch pop up on us out of nowhere. They haven't even talked about specifically what's going to be in it. We haven't gotten the preliminary patch notes. We haven't got anything like that. And they've been quiet, so they'll want to talk to us. They'll want to actually do a podcast and do an actual proper talk on the patch before it goes live. So the next thing we were looking for, guys, any of you guys that are like, when's the wipe? It'll make it much easier for you, trust me, if you say, when's the Tarkov TV cast? When's Tarkov TV? When's Tarkov TV? In terms of gameplay in game, in terms of just like, I don't know, just in general. Like, Tarkov TV is going to be the next thing. We are probably not going to get that Tarkov TV cast today, and we'll see what happens for tomorrow. They could do it tomorrow. We'll see what happens. My guess was that this would happen after Rivals. This is the week after Rivals, so this was the week I thought something was going to happen. Knowing BSG, maybe this is what's going on. Maybe there's, I don't know, maybe there's some other delays or something. I don't know. We're gonna get to that though today because they have been super quiet. Before we get to the topic though, let me just, since it's been a few days, let me get through everyone. No, I'm not gonna do. You guys don't need to see my face in order to understand Escape from Tarkov better. Trust me. Wipe in 1 hour. Yeah, totally. Nah, it's not. That's. I wish, but no, that's not what's happening. I heard there is a free labs weekend, so no, they are discussing it and they're thinking about it. That has not been confirmed. Nikita likes the idea, but that has not been confirmed. Hammertown, how you doing? Thursday probably because Pestilent. Yeah, guys. Anytime anyone says Thursday, it's because you are annoying them. My content specifically is based around information. If I was like a gameplay Tarkov guy, I would completely be on the Thursday train. Like if you guys, because it's so all the times that you guys are looking in chat and you're seeing like when's the next patch, when's 12.11, when's wipe, when's all that stuff. It is constant. It is literally constant, and I'm only live for about an hour. So I can't imagine being live for 6 or 8 hours a day and then having that be constant. I would totally be on the Thursday train, where anytime you hear a Thursday, the whole joke behind that, guys, is that Thursday is very likely to be the day that something happens, as in the day of the week. Not this Thursday, because today is Thursday, or next Thursday, or the Thursday after that, but it's simply just that BSG likes doing things on Thursdays, and that's not necessarily just a BSG thing, that's a game development thing. It allows you to launch something. It gives you the rest of the day to actually make sure it's launched correctly, and then it gives you the full work day the day after, aka that Friday, to be able to work on it as well. So it's like a software development thing. It's like a product release kind of a thing, and then also BSG, just that's what they do. That's what, if you guys look at the pattern, it has been Thursdays. Most patches, most wipes have happened on Thursdays, so that's why the meme is just to say Thursday and hopefully get that person to shut the fuck up and just stop asking, like that kind of a thing. But because we're information, I try not to do the no information route. I try to at least I try to explain to you the thought process and what we currently know and stuff like that, because that's the whole point of the channel. So, let me take a sip of coffee here. Definitely hit the nail on the head. It's very possible. Definitely says maybe something changed since the new community manager. I am going to go ahead and say that I guarantee something has changed. They definitely... It has been a significant change. It has been a significant change in communication and everything. They have, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it could be so many different things. And if you guys are the kind of people that like to yell at me for speculating on stuff, this is the lord of all speculative, thinking here. We have no idea what's going on. All we know is that it's been very slow for the past few months. And we're going to get into that in a little. We're going to get to that now. When is Thursday? That is the question of the universe, isn't it? Just the absolute question of the universe. Actually, before we get started, hold on. Real quick. Speaking of this, the AI guy. Gonna have that emote. We should have that emote ready. I think we have that emote ready, don't we? I think we do. Yeah. Speaking of whoever watched the keynote. I think we have that emote. Yes, we do! It's just too much. And I know I'm not going to add the tie. I swear to God, nobody call them the ties. They are not ties. Anyway, that's going to be around for, it's completely terrifying, Thick. It is completely terrifying. Utterly terrifying. All right, guys, we're going to turn the music down a little bit. So, a lot of people like to hate on BSG for their progress and stuff like that, and there's enough people that are negative out there on the internet. I like being the positive guy. Trust me, I very much do. It makes things a lot easier just to kind of, just be happy about stuff. We can think of the bright side, glass half full stuff. Makes your day go by much easier. Less headache, and it just doesn't make much sense to be angry about everything at all times. So, then there comes the realistic stuff. Like, what's been going on with BSG, how come there really isn't that much content going on and stuff like that. So, we're not going to go through the entire development of Escape from Tarkov, because there is no question there that since 2017, this game has completely had leaps, and this game is leaps and bounds better. It is significantly better, and it has significantly improved since what it was back in 2017. I love the game just as much now as I did then, so trust me, as someone that's been there, you don't want to trust me, there's plenty of other people out there who have played since 2017. Sure, there's been times that we've played breaks, sure, there's been times when we've taken breaks. Plenty of us do that, but in terms of progress for the game, it's been significant. Now, recently, though, it's been a little quiet. I'm not going to put this up on screen specifically, maybe I will. It's not very easy to understand if I put it up on screen, though. Maybe if I do this, so you guys can read along. All right, you know what I'll do though? We'll keep this vocal, because like I said, the way that I tracked this and the way that I tracked all this. Now there is the changelog. If you guys wanted to see something specific, what helped a lot here was the changelog over on the Gamepedia Escape from Tarkov wiki, not the fan zone or whatever the other one is, but specifically the Gamepedia Escape from Tarkov wiki. Those guys did a really good job. They have the changelog that's for very specific things for each patch as we went along. That was very good. So what I'm going to do is I'll keep it vocal. It's going to just be me talking for now, but I'll put the slideshow up on the background, see if that helps a little bit. Okay. So in terms of this wipe, we're going to go through everything, and then we're going to break down exactly what we've been looking at for the last 6 months. This current wipe was the 24th of December, where they updated some quests. They changed the execution conditions, starting conditions, and rewards for some of the quests. They reduced the bonus of recoil reduction from recoil control skill and weapon mastering. There was the character overweight stuff that went from, it used to be 40, now it's 35 for when you're actually overweight in terms of 35 kilograms there. And then they also increased the purchase limits for some of the ammo and some of the dealers. That was at the top of a changelog. That was at the top of changes for a patch in Escape from Tarkov. Notice how it's really not that much content. It's a little bit weird that it's just sort of gameplay, and that's going to be a recurring factor for the next 6 months at least here. So that was the day one. That was the 24th of December. In terms of guns, we got a lot. We got the Chris Vector. We got the excuse me. We got the Chris Vector in both 9x19 and 45. We got the SIG MCX in 300 Blackout. We got the UMP, and we got the Mark 18 Mjolnir. That was all 12.9 and on the 24th of December of last year. That was all 12.9. In 12.9, for significant content, we had the Woods expansion, and then along with that Woods expansion, we had the Cultists, of course, which has been interesting because locations are great. I love locations for content in just any game, period, especially in games that are currently in development. And we get to play them as they're being developed, and which really for everyone right now, we're talking about Escape from Tarkov. I love locations. Next up, we're going to have the factory expansion, but it's like one room. We're going to have the Scav boss. We're going to have maybe, I don't actually know if he's going to have bodyguards or not. That's going to be a good question for the Tarkov TV, whenever that ends up popping up. I don't actually know if he's going to have bodyguards or not. I haven't seen that, or I haven't heard that answered at all. So we don't know what's going to go on with that. But other than that, from what we've seen, it looks like just one room. So hopefully there's a little bit. There was rumors about like an outdoor section, stuff like that. Just somewhere to go. Somewhere to go to new scenery is very nice. For the fans out there, I'm one of those guys that really appreciate new scenery, new things to look at while you're playing the game. And then there was some extra stuff where they reworked metabolism. They added that skill, immunity. Both not really exactly what I would consider content, but it is still useful for the game. They reworked the initial PMC gear sets, so that was how we used to start with the M4s, and now we get the MDRs and stuff like. Actually, do we still get M4s? I think we still get M4s for some accounts and stuff like that. But it's not like the MDRs and stuff, so it's different starting equipment, which is also including the stuff for the heavy bleeds and stuff. So there's been some changes. There was some changes with that at the beginning of this current wipe. They messed around with some volume of the steps and the interaction with bushes and stuff because it was too loud. Added chance to cause. So they changed some things with ammunition to make them cause heavier bleeds, or to make some of them not cause heavier bleeds so much. And then they also did this thing where if you're newer to the game, like if you're a brand new player, for the first 7 days that you play, you'll be getting like in-game packages to help you with gear and stuff like that. So they're starting to move in the direction with that. At least they start to realize like, okay, this is a kick in the nuts for people that aren't used to the game. We don't have a tutorial yet. We don't even there's no tutorials. So unless you have someone to play with, as we all know, unless you have someone to play with, or unless you have someone to learn from, you have no idea what's going on. So at least they're starting to realize that, and they're starting to move towards that a little bit. And along with the easier stuff, they simplified the Jaeger quests, which was really good. I think they're okay right now. Specifically, I think they're okay right now. And then we got our usual, added some clothing for both PMCs, both top and bottoms there. And that's content. That's like what they had for content. We had those new guns. Really appreciate the new guns. We had the Woods expansion. Really appreciate the Woods expansion. It changed the map significantly. I really like Woods now. I didn't like it so much because it was good for PvP, and it was an interesting location because of how it kind of shaped together in the middle around the Locky camp, and especially with Sturman and, Dickhead Rock there and all that stuff, and the dynamic that you would have there. But now it's just a really interesting map in general. So I do like Woods. I like what they did with Woods, and I also just like having new places to explore, new things to do. And the Cultists. Unfortunately, the Cultists aren't a thing that you would normally see. Like, I don't remember the last time specifically that I saw a Cultist in game. I know that there's been some time where bugs will happen or something interesting will happen where they pop up during the day for some people. I'll tell you right now, it's not intended to be that. They're supposed to be out at night, so I would like to think that's either a bug or something that you were doing with the raid was either very early in the morning or It was late afternoon going into the night, and then there was a chance that during that time that you were there, they spawned. So it shouldn't have been when you started that raid, but then it moved into a time that the cultists were supposed to be there. That kind of a thing. So yeah, that was it for 12.9. And then there was tons of fixes and optimizations, which I am someone that likes to, show that off and actually say like, hey, they're working on the game. But it's not something that most gamers realize. And that's what is adding to our current state of the game and our current state of the community and stuff like that. Anything that was fixes or optimizations, unless it was like utterly amazing optimizations, you really won't see it. Unless it was a game-breaking bug, like let's just say something obvious, like let's say this is not something that happened, although I'm sure something actually it kind of was because you had the hand bug thing. Let's say you like literally couldn't reload your gun in game. It would have to be something like that in order for it to be considered significant. It would need to be blatantly obvious, and it would need to be deteriorating for gameplay. It would need to be a very big bug in order for it to be memorable. Is where I'm trying to get at. So in order for it to be memorable through the patches, in order for it to make more sense, that's just one of those things that devs do that people just don't realize. It's like, especially when they talk about the vague stuff that we're going to talk about in a second. But anyway, that was the 24th of December. We got a really cool patch. That was a wipe, and the reason why it hit harder is because it was a wipe. So even though there was not necessarily a ton of content, it allowed us to want to play the game just to level up. It gave us something to do. A wipe just gives us something to do. A lot of people like that gameplay, that early wipe gameplay where not everyone's running around with the best gear. It makes the fights last a little bit longer. It makes things a little bit more, it makes actually things significantly more difficult. And I'm on that train, and I know not everyone's on that train, but just something about a wipe. I won't go into this too long because today's not about wipes. It just adds to the content on its own. Just removing... It's funny how removing everyone's content that they've been working on for the last several months creates new content. It's still, the game is good enough that, without actually seeing the numbers, I would still think the majority of the community likes the wipes. Like, the majority of the community wants to go through and keep playing the game again and have something new to do, even if it is stuff that they did already months before, stuff like that. That's basically the point that I wanted to get to with this current wipe with that patch 12.9. There really wasn't a whole lot to do there. There was a new map, there was some new guns, there was a couple new tasks here and there, and we had a new enemy that you could have only seen sometimes in a specific location at a certain time of night. That was it. Other than that, it was the wipe. Moving on to the 15th of February. So 2 months later. 2 months later. Actually, given that it was the 24th of December, we can call it a month and a half later. Month and a half later. We got tons of fixes and optimizations. No new content whatsoever. 30th of March, another month and a half later, we got 12.10. So, we got the new voices for scab bosses. That's not content. It's cool. It's definitely going to add to the game. It's interesting to make them tell. You're going to be able to tell them apart. Like, people are going to realize that, but that's not content. That's not something that, you play and you're like, I love this game because Rashala sounds different. That's not something that anyone has ever said ever. New actions conditions for scabs and the sounds for them. That was interesting because it made them act differently. That's borderline content because you find scabs everywhere, and how you interact with them is obviously gameplay. So if there's some things that change that significantly, that's borderline content to me. And then we got the new clothing again. And then we got a bunch of new equipment with the different multicams and stuff like that. Chest rigs, all that stuff that they usually add pretty much every patch. All the different gear and equipment and stuff like that. Some new meds. We got the new IFAK, which actually I consider content because that's actually a significant game changer for meds because it's significantly better than the first IFAK. So, and how it treats heavy bleeds, and it's a 1x1 slot. So that's actually significant because now that's like my go-to, and I don't know anyone, especially at this point of the wipe, where that AFAK is not your go-to like extra medical thing. Unless you're going full-blown Grizzly in the Gamma, or not Gamma, Grizzly in the Kappa or something like that at this point, which is also a great thing. But yeah. So lots of new things to wear and lots of new things to use while you're appreciating the content. But notice how there is no new content. Notice how there's nothing really specifically new to do there with patch 12.10. And when they added the guns are another borderline thing. Like, it's something that you can appreciate and something that you can enjoy while playing the content. That's another borderline thing for me, especially when they add things like the STM-9 and the PL-15, both 9mm. And STM-9, an interesting rifle for sure, but given the point of the wipe that it was already in, it's pretty difficult to use. It's still fun. It's very accurate. It's an interesting weapon, and it definitely will have its place in the endgame economy for sure, because it is a civilian rifle. So those of you guys that don't know, the economy is going to change up significantly once we're actually at full launch, and having those civilian accessible rifles are going to have those more, I don't know what the right word here to use. It's the way that the loot pools are going to work is that those civilian rifles theoretically should be much easier to access than those military rifles. So if you wanted to go and get something, even your bog standard AK-74 is probably going to be about as difficult to find as an STM-9, but the STM-9 stock debatably is easier to use, debatably is better shooting than a stock AK-74 because of the attachments on it and because of how you use it, especially when it comes to access of the ammo and stuff like that. So that's the kind of things that you're going to look at. Those are the kind of things that you're going to really start to appreciate once the game actually comes out. It just doesn't make too much sense in the current economy. So you're going to have to trust me on that one. And then we got the Taigun melee tool, which I'm not going to lie, I haven't even seen myself. I have no idea where that thing is. I know it's like you have to loot. It's like a loot only thing or whatever, but it's a melee tool. So big whoop, basically. And then we got some new quest items, stuff like that. They moved around a bunch of quality of life stuff, which is obviously good, but again, it's not really content. It makes us appreciate the content. It makes it easier to appreciate the content, but it's not something new to do in game. I'm not seeing too many people saying I love Escape from Tarkov because the message item already purchased has been moved to notification tab, which by the way I think is bugged right now because I've seen it pop up a couple times in the middle of the screen. So welcome to Tarkov. Experience category icons on the post-raid screen. Yeah, not content. It's appreciate it. Definitely for the big fans of the game. Interesting. Like that they did that. Not content. And then they got a ton of fixes and optimizations, which obviously are we appreciate, but it's not considered something that's memorable for that patch and adds to how long it's been since we've had something new to do in the game. And that was the 30th of March. That's a full ass 3 months. 3 months of very little to go off of, and that was back in March. April 2nd, some fixes. April 15th, some more fixes. 5th of May, various minor fixes for technical issues. 12th of May, fixed some causes of the hand lock after reloading a gun. Significant bug there that makes if anyone hadn't encountered that before, you would have to restart your game. You would have to Alt F4 your game and restart in order to actually mid-raid. You would have to restart your game mid-raid in order to get that fixed. So they worked on that. 19th of May, various minor fixes for technical issues. Notice how that's a full month of they worked on one major bug, and then other than that, various minor fixes for technical issues. And even if you want to go as far as 2nd of April, that's also what they were doing. And then the 27th of May, they said they fixed some causes of the hands lock after reloading a gun. So notice how they didn't say they actually fully fixed it. They said they fixed some causes. So all the way to the 27th of May, they were still working on that, fixing some causes of the hand lock thing for the gun. And that's it. That's modern day. That's our current day. So that is what our entire wipe has looked like, and that's why so many people are so anxious, and including me. And that's why I kind of go at the content that I go at, specifically these days, because it is at that point that we need, we understand the game's in development, but from what we're hearing with 12.11, we're getting it sounds like Nikita didn't even mention Scav Karma with the talk that he did with Clean. He was mentioning some things, and he didn't think of Scav Karma. Now, he was thinking of things off the top of his head. He didn't have the list in front of him. But I feel like that's a pretty major feature for him to remember. So we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see what they say in the official cast. I am really hoping that Scav Karma isn't delayed, because I was looking for it. That is some significant stuff. That is content to actually appreciate, and something new that changes, because that is going to redefine how people act with their scavs. If you still want to be a kill-on-sight person, you can still be a kill-on-sight person. But if you want the benefits that are going to come with the karma system, with that fence reputation and all the things that are come with it, you're going to need to be a good guy with the scavs. And if enough people do it, we're going to get those scav gangs more often on maps. And that's going to significantly change the entire ecosystem of Escape from Tarkov. Because what is supposed to be happening is we are supposed to be fighting for our lives to get out of Escape. I just, Freudian slip there or whatever. We are supposed to be fighting for our lives to get out of Tarkov. The point is for us to escape Tarkov. That is the point of it. And what is to escape when we're just killing everybody in sight and then getting the best loot and then we go back to our hideout just to do it again? Like, that is what the game is supposed to be. So, in theory, what is supposed to be happening is we are supposed to be climbing over all of the scavs that are trying to stop us as we get out of there, basically. And those players, and those scavs are supposed to be mostly player scavs. Like, that's supposed to be a thing. They're supposed to be more difficult to get through those scavs. So now BSG are talking about things where, like, if you pick, you can't pick specific maps, which I think is a horrible idea with scavs. You're not supposed to be able to pick specific maps with a scav. You're just going to pick a time, and you're going to just select your scav and then pick a time, and then it'll choose the map for you. I don't think that makes any sense. I know it's a random person, but at least allow that random person to decide where they went. Like, because the whole point of choosing maps right now is supposed to be along the lines of, like, you decided to move there. How you got there or where you came from is up for discussion right now because it's lore-wise it doesn't end up working because we don't have the map-to-map travel. We don't have however that's going to work for your hideout, how you're going to get into the map. It's not open world, things like that. So theoretically, what is supposed to be happening is when you choose to go on customs, you have walked to customs. Same thing is supposed to happen with the scavs. When you choose to go on customs as your scav, you have chosen with that scav to walk to customs, like that kind of thing. That's supposed to be how that works out. So in order for you to just randomly show up at whatever map, I don't think it's needed. I really don't think it's needed. I want to see what the scav karma does before we go doing something crazy like that, because I don't know. I don't think it'll be good for, like, the scav just gameplay in general for you not to know. What if that person doesn't know that map? I know they probably don't care. In fact, it'll probably be good to get people to learn new maps and stuff like that, but it's just not conducive to the current gameplay is what I'm trying to say. I don't think we need to be doing that. Anyway, so in terms of content, very quick roundup here. In terms of content for the last 6 months, this entire wipe, we got the Woods expansion, we got Cultists, bunch of new clothing for PMCs, bunch of new equipment with the rigs, vests, bags, armor, variations in color of some of the rigs, vests, bags, and armor, which I appreciate because they haven't done that, and they really haven't done a whole lot of that. But more to come with that. A bunch of new medical items, and a bunch of new medical items and stims. We got the Vector, the MCX, the Mark 18, the UMP, STM-9 carbine, PL-15 pistol for guns. We got immunity as a new skill. They reworked and changed a bunch of the quests. They reworked the weight, strength, and endurance systems in a bunch of different places. Reworked recoil with the mastering and rebalanced a lot of attachments and weapon parts. The rebalancing of a lot of attachments and weapon parts, that's borderline content. That's why I'm adding it, because it changed a lot about our favorite guns. A lot of that stuff involves how we interact with the game when it comes to weapons specifically, and they changed up a lot of those attachments. So we had to go through and go rework all that stuff, and I actually like that. I actually like going through and building the weapons. You guys have seen that's for the past several of my videos. I've had me just building guns. I can do that for hours. For some reason or another, I just like doing that. I like having my guns look good. It's like a looks over function to me. But if I end up seeing that if I add somewhat of a little bit of a different grip, or if I add a different stock or whatever, I get a bit different ergo, or a bit different, or better is the right word there. A bit better ergo, or a bit better recoil or whatever from putting a different stock on it. Then after it looks good, maybe I'll mess with it a little bit. But past that, I just like good looking guns. I've been using 20 round mags for probably a year now. I really like the look of 20 round mags on my M4s. That's it. Anyway, but yeah, that's it. This wipe, in terms of content and borderline content, That is why it just feels different this wipe, because for 6 months, we've had, in terms of new things to do, we've had the Woods expansion, Cultists, bunch of clothing, bunch of new equipment, bunch of colors for that equipment, a bunch of medical items. We got the Vector, the MCX, the Mark 18, the UMP, the STMP9, and the PL15 pistol. And then we got immunity. We worked a bunch of quests, changed up strength and endurance, and then changed up the weapon attachments and a bunch of stuff with recoil. Last 2 months, everything. That was it. Thanks, Jack. Are you in chat? What's going on? What's up? Jack, if you need to say something, I don't know what that DM was. Let me know if you need something changed or something like that. So yeah, that was the last 6 months, and that's what I wanted to cover. Like I said, I'm not like a negative person, obviously, just from basis of the content, so I'm not going to make it a negative thing, but it is a realistic thing. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. I want good things to happen with BSG. I want this game to succeed. I want the community to understand what's going on with the game so that they're not negative, so that you guys are prepared for what's to come with the game and, you know, everything that comes with that, all that stuff. So you're not going to see me bashing them or anything, but it is a very realistic thing that it's been 6 months now and there really hasn't been a lot in terms of change to the gameplay, even though I guarantee they've been working their asses off, but things are getting pushed. So this is the kind of time when I wish that the community wasn't so negative, because if we came to them with something like this right now, then they would actually hear it past all the bullshit of, you know, when wipe, fix your game, this game sucks, this game's broken, fix your fucking game, you guys are idiots, you're not good devs, you don't know how to work on your game and all that stuff. So through the fucking tsunami that they always get anytime they ever interact with the community, whether they go on the Reddit, whether they go on the Twitter, whether they have a live stream, constant tsunami of just like hatred and shit like that. Now, when something like this happens and we're starting to realize, okay, we kind of, what's going on? Like, let's talk about this. What's actually happening here? And they're not going to hear it. They're just not, because they're sick of it. They're sick of all the hate and all that stuff. Now, at its core, they're okay. They're fine. They talked about this with Clean. So if you guys will go and watch Clean's podcast, they talked about this for quite a bit, actually, in terms of community interaction and them understanding that there is a core to the community that really appreciates everything that they're doing. But who else in here can honestly, or who in here would honestly say they would enjoy speaking to a community that every single time that you talk to them, most of them are like fucking hating on you, or like genuinely like it's like harassing you for your life's work. So a lot of these, so Nikita's been working on this game for the better part of 7 years now. Nikita, this has been his life for the better part of 7 years now, is this game. And every time he comes to talk to anyone about anything, there's a significant portion of the community that is like straight up hating on him and like harassing him about shit. Obviously, that's not going to be very fun for him to go talk to. It's not going to be very fun for him to do. So that is why, as realistic as I would like to keep everything on my channel, that is why I tend to keep more positive. And now I'm really hoping that 12.11 actually shows up on some stuff. Now, what is planned for 12.11? I still really hope it's Scav Karma. He didn't talk about Scav Karma last time we talked to Clean. I really hope it's still Scav Karma, because that's going to be significant. It's that factory expansion, which for what we've seen right now is that one big room, the Scav boss. I don't know if he's going to have bodyguards, but that's new gameplay. It's even though it's one giant room, it's on one of the most popular maps. Hopefully there's a bit more added to that. We don't know what's going on with that other underground area. Maybe there's a bit more underground involved there. We don't know yet. Scav boss is going to be interesting. That's literal gameplay. You actually have to go and fight that guy. That's something added to the gameplay. Guns, the Mark 47 Mutant. That thing, it looks like it's going to be a monster, which is funny because they call it a mutant. It looks like it's going to be a monster. Those of you guys, if you haven't seen my most recent video, I saw some footage of Iraq veteran 8888. They did a bunch of, or they did this big shoot basically, which the footage in that video is not of the most recent shoot, but apparently they did the same exact thing. I couldn't find the footage for the most recent shoot, but again, it was a full auto Mark 47. Excuse me, I gotta take a sip of coffee here. I've been talking a lot. Excuse me, guys. It was a full auto Mark 47 Mutant that was just nomming. It was just nom 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 nom. It just fed it. They fed it bullets for like hours. They put thousands of rounds of 7.62 by 39 through that thing, and it just kept working. When it got a little bit too hot to hold, they would stick it in a thing of water and then keep shooting it. Very interesting gun to come with the first iteration of weapon malfunctions, which is supposed to be coming with 12.11 as well. Apparently, given what we've heard so far from Nikita, apparently now it's just going to be for the first iteration misfires, which for those who don't know, at least I'm no expert on this stuff, but from what I can tell, misfires would be unless it's your firing pin, unless there's something wrong with the firing pin, which technically you wouldn't call it a misfire, but I don't know if he would clear it the same or if he would do the same thing. As long as it gets a good strike on the primer of the round, I think that's still considered a misfire if it doesn't actually end up going off. So for that, what you would need to do is just rack it. You would need to feed a new round manually. You're not going to need to take the gun apart. You're not going to need to do anything significant with that. It's not really considered a jam. It's just considered a malfunction on the bullet side, not the weapon side. So again, if any of you guys understand, if it happens with a pistol, then you're going to need to rack the slide manually with your hand. All these you're going to need to do manually with your hand. But when you have the AR-15, you got the T-shaped charging handle there back towards your shoulder, and you just pull it back, you grab it, you pull it back. That should feed a new round. You should be good to go. AK, you're going to need to wrap your arm around and get the charging handle, and just rack it, and then a new round should go in, and that should fix misfires. Like I said, I'm not an absolute expert, but that is theoretically all that would need to happen if it was a misfire. You're not going to need to take the gun apart. You're not going to even need to take the magazine out. You're not going to need to do anything crazy. And that should fix it. Apparently that's coming with 12.11. But then later we've got the weapon heat and all that stuff, which was supposed to be coming last year at this rate, but it's not, so oh well. So that'll be a thing, so make sure you guys know. Right now I think it's Shift T to manually rack. Okay, from Tarkov. Someone help me on that. Is it Shift T? I think is it Shift T? Hotkeys, keybinds. Control R? Control R. Okay, it's Control R. Everyone seems to agree it's Control R. Okay, so Control R. Without me actually playing the game and having my hands be there. Oh, no, that totally makes sense. No, that totally makes sense. No update yet. No update yet. But anyway, so yeah. So get used to hitting Control R if that happens. Get used to hitting Control R if that does end up happening. So yeah, we have hopefully Scav Karma, first iteration of weapon malfunctions with the misfires, factory expansion with the new factory boss, the Mark 47 Mutant, which is an interesting gun to add with the first iteration of those malfunctions, because it looks like it's just going to keep running. It looks like it's going to be an amazing weapon there, and the recoil looks super manageable. That might be my new favorite AK, even though it's not an AK, to be on AKM, even though that's not an AKM, that might be my new favorite AKM, just saying. We'll have to see how accessible it is. We'll have to see where it falls in terms of traders, if it's going to even be found at a trader, maybe it's going to be just only found in raid or something like that. We'll have to see what happens with it. And then, what am I missing? Scars. They haven't talked about the scars in a while. I really hope they're still adding the scars. That's going to be one of my favorite guns. Like, for real, the instant that I have any access to either the 5.56 or the 7.62 Scar, I'm going to put a hollow sight on it and like a stubby grip or whatever and just roll with it. Maybe a flashlight and a laser too. If I don't have a flashlight and a laser, I don't give a shit. I'm going to put a hollow sight and a stubby grip on it, because for some reason, anytime I ever think of a Scar, it has a hollow sight and a stubby grip on it. I don't know if it's because it looks like the one from Modern Warfare 2 or whatever, but like, that's just how I rock my Scars, and I love it. I love it to death for some reason. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know about you guys, but maybe someday I'll put an L-can on it, and I'll rock the L-can kind of a thing. And apparently they're going to be adding a lot of attachments to it, but so a lot to do with like the length of the weapon. I don't know if they're going to do, if anyone is wondering if they're going to add the 6.8. I don't know. I forget what the name of the 6.8 one is. Scar Rifle 6.8. As I type that, Google wanted me to type Scar Rifle 6.8 Tarkov. So obviously some people are interested if it's coming to Tarkov or not. The 20S, the Scar, or wait, 16S? What is this? 20S? FN America. Isn't that 6.5? No, this is 6.5. I'm looking for 6.8. 6.8. 16? No. No, Scar 16's the L. Boop, 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 boop. Has anyone said it in chat yet? I don't know. There is a 6.8 version. There is a 6.8 version of the Scar. I think they're going to add it. I just don't know what the name of it is. Specifically, the wiki is not doing a good job of telling me. I don't see it here. I only see the 6.5. Yeah, I don't know where that's at. I thought they were adding a 6.8. Isn't that the new marksman rifle, the 6.8? Yeah, I'm only seeing 6.5. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for 12.11 anyway, because they're doing the Scar 20 is 6.5. Yeah, I saw the 6.5. I don't know what's going on with the 6.8. It must be, yeah, I think it is a variant of the 20. I think it's the variant of the Scar 20. It doesn't matter for 12.11 anyway, because at most we're going to be getting the 308 and the 5.56 anyway. And off the top of my head here, because I didn't actually have it as a note, because we don't know the full extent of what's supposed to be coming with 12.11 yet, because they haven't had the podcast yet. We only know what they've talked about, and recently they've been pushing a lot of stuff back, so we'll have to see what ends up happening. Now, things that did pop up before that I know that has changed is Unity 19. Unity 19 was supposed to be 12.11. They've pushed that back. As we get pushed farther back into June, there's more potential for Unity 19 to become a thing again, unless they have stopped full production of the patch, unless they have fully stopped working on the patch itself, and now they're just doing the test phase to make sure everything fits together and to make sure everything works correctly, which I think they're currently doing. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But yeah, that's me talking about the past 6 months for Escape from Tarkov, and that's me being honest with, I understand the progress over the last 6 months. Hopefully that P didn't hit too hard there into the mic, because the mic was right in front of my mouth. But yeah, this is me being realistic. I understand the progress. I understand where we're at, and I know why a lot of you guys are feeling the way that you're feeling, but harassing BSG about it is just going to make them more quiet and make them, tense up a hell of a lot more. So lay off them a little bit, and we'll see what happens. There's no reason for hate. The game's already in it. I know it's not done yet. There's a lot of problems with it, but it's in a playable state. We're not Star Citizen here where the game still crashes. I mean, maybe for some people the game crashes, but people are constantly playing every single day, and it's still able to function. It's very playable right now. It's, in terms of in development games, it's doing very well. So I know it's taking a lot longer, but gotta lay off them a little bit. You lay off them a little bit. But yes, I understand. I agree with you. Content been a bit whack. Been a bit whack for the last 6 months. Let's hope for 12.11, and also let's hope that people lay off BSG a little bit better so that they can actually start communicating more, because they're starting to not communicate as much. Well, yeah, that's everything from today. Hit me with your questions. That's a solid 50-minute talk. So we'll add an extra 10 minutes here. Let's do 15, 20 minutes of the Q&A here. Let me see what you guys think here. Also, if you guys haven't seen it, I got some work in progress shots here. I got some work in progress shots here of our new background that's going to be popping up soon. Forget if I showed this to you guys yet or not. So for those of you guys that don't know, I have a buddy whose actual job, his actual full-time job, is environment art in very well-known game studios, and for a bit of money, he's not doing it for free, but I'm giving him a bit of money to do this, but he's having a lot of fun with it. He's making a new background for the stream for Good Morning Tarkov, which I'm going to use all over the place. And we used this picture that you're looking at right now by D. Verez as an inspiration, except it's not going to be static. It's actually going to be moving. So here's a quick shot of it. So all this smoke in the background is moving. The lights sway a little bit. He's got an idle animation here, and there's a couple of other cool things that happen, but I'll leave those for a surprise. But this is what it's looking like, and we got the nice guy logo over here. So basically, think of, if you guys know Dr. Disrespect, you know how he has like his scenes where he walks into them, but they're like, there's a bit moving. It's like mostly static, but there's a bit of stuff moving here and there. It's like that, except I'm not going to be walking into it. I'm not going to be walking into the scene. It's not like a layered setup like that, but it is still fucking cool. It is really fucking cool. There's stuff that pops up, like this stuff moves around on the laptop here. He's got an idle animation. The smoke moves, and there's some other stuff that'll happen over here that you'll see eventually. But just like you guys are seeing it right now, I might make the chat a little bit smaller, but the chat will be down here. I'll have some commands, maybe commands up here, couple like stuff like that. Alerts are gonna pop up like out of the it'll look like it pops up out of the laptop kind of a thing, but it pops up over here. Can't wait. So fucking cool. Love what he did with it. Cannot fucking wait. Looks really cool. And that's gonna be a lot of stuff with it, but in case you guys want to see that. Anyway, we'll hit a bit of a Q&A here, guys. Make sure you're using @NiceGuyTarkov, like what Can Do Crayon just did there, what Davey just did there, what Destroyer did, what Raleigh did, what Thick did. So if we do @NiceGuyTarkov, that's what it looks like. Anytime you guys want to launch a question, or anything you guys have to ask. Oh, wow. If you guys have a question to ask, make sure you're using @NiceGuyTarkov so I can pick you out of the chat. Greta already with the when is wipe. We don't have a date for the wipe. If you ask anyone that doesn't know the date, they're probably going to say Thursday, but I'm here for some information. I'm here to give you guys information. So if you want that information, it's not going to be what you're looking for because there is no date. There is no confirmed date for the wipe. What we're looking for next is a Tarkov TV cast from BSG. That is when we are going to hear any kind of new info regarding any kind of patch, any kind of wipe, whatever might be happening next. That is what we are waiting for. We are waiting for a Tarkov TV podcast with Nikita and the boys from the BSG offices. That is what we're waiting for next. What do you think? Hold up. You guys are fucking moving today. What do you think of them making the sledgehammer usable? They already said they're not going to do that. It'd be cool, but they already said they're not going to do that. Greta, I just got that answer there. Excuse me. Oh, I forgot about the NVIDIA thing. So Lime asks here. Excuse me, guys. Lime here asks, what was your impression of BSG hyping up the NVIDIA Computex presentation and it just being them adding NVIDIA Reflex? How they hyped it up, they didn't hype it up. I hyped it up because I was wrong. I thought they were going to do something different, so I hyped it up. That's my mistake, and that's also why I took a couple days off there. I needed a bit of a breather. I need to treat the way that they do things much differently now, and I'm going to start doing that because it's just not the same. I don't know if it's because of the community manager. I don't know if it's because of where their studio is at. I don't know if it's because of COVID. I don't know what's going on, but things have changed significantly. It's just not the way that they used to do things. Even just 6 months ago. Lots of guys lots of people out there like to give me shit because they'll say like, oh, he's always fucking wrong about everything. Clearly not always wrong about everything. I don't know exactly what they've watched of mine in the past, but even back a couple months back there, I could easily guess what they were going to do next based off of the things that they were saying and stuff. But now that's actually 3 things in a row that I've been wrong about. So I was wrong about Victory Day. Understandably wrong about Victory Day because last year was the 75th anniversary. I get that now, so that's different. I was wrong about what was it? Shit, I forgot the other thing. I was wrong about like 3 things recently. What was the second thing? I don't know, I'm blanking on it. There was one thing I called out that I forgot what the second thing was. And then the third thing was the Streets tease, which obviously is very difficult to get these kinds of things, but that's usually how they would go about doing things in the past. So now I need to treat those things very differently from now on, so I'm going to start doing that. Now, that being said, they did at least tweet about it. At least if NVIDIA, if they want to still be buddies with NVIDIA, like if they want NVIDIA to appreciate them, that's something that I would do. Even if it was something for as little as, what's it called? What was it called? Reflex? Something as little as Reflex, which, by the way, I really don't think it's going to do a whole lot. I am on the side of the argument that I really don't think it's going to do a whole lot because I think what the problem is with that setup with latency and stuff like that is a network thing. Of course, there's going to be people that have frame issues. It's going to be good unless it starts hitting the network in a bad way, unless it starts hitting your frames in a bad way, which I think the whole point of it is it's supposed to improve your frames. I don't think it's a bad thing that we're going to have reflex, but I really don't think, especially if you end up needing, I thought I saw something where you need a special monitor or you need a special mouse or something like that. Sure as shit, if you need a special monitor or a special mouse or whatever, then I'm not on that train. Like, it's like, why would you do... I just don't understand. There's more information that I need to figure out about this whole reflex stuff, but from what I can tell, it had nothing to do with the network. And as long as the network and as long as the back end is still a bit sketchy as we're going through the development of Escape from Tarkov, I don't think there's going to be so much that... I don't think there's going to be too much that affects it unless we start getting on top of the desync and stuff. So, interesting. I'm glad that they're working with NVIDIA. I'm glad that NVIDIA knows they're a thing. And on top of the fact, also with that, I don't understand why they didn't talk about DLSS. Nikita said the DLSS is, in fact, coming to Escape from Tarkov. And what I thought we were going to see was the Streets tease, which they are working on a new Streets tease, guys, by the way. So this wasn't just completely pulling that out of my ass or anything. Nikita said that they are working on the next Streets tease. It is something that they're doing a lot of editing and audio work for, which makes sense because it's for they want it to look good. The last two Streets teases, they've made it look very good with the editing, and then also Nikita made a new song for both of them. So if those of you guys that don't know, Gene Byrne, most of the music, the music that you were listening to right now was made by Gene Byrne. Gene Byrne is Nikita. Nikita makes these songs. He what's the word? Creates. There's a specific word there if anyone wants to help me out. There's a specific word there that he creates this music, orchestrates, whatever it is, this is Nikita's music basically. So yeah, Nikita's probably gonna make a new song for it, and there's a lot of editing involved with it. So we are getting that new Streets tease at some point. We just don't know when. I thought it made the most sense, and I thought it would hit super hard if they announced DLSS with Streets on this NVIDIA keynote and be like, look how crazy this looks. Look how good it looks. DLSS on Streets of Tarkov with this new music. Bah! Like that kind of a thing. But just complete hit and a miss there. Complete hit and a miss on that one. Were you referring to 6.8 Remington SPS round that the ACR is chambered in? Is it just the ACR? Because I thought there was a 6.8 SCAR. That's what I was saying, Nova. I thought there was a 6.8 SCAR coming. You're a busy dude, but when do you think you'll select the squad Sherpas? Sherpas are this weekend. As long as there's no surprise patch or whatever, as long as the patch doesn't pop up this week, Sherpas are this weekend. I'm gonna go through everyone. I did want to mention that, guys. Where is that Sherpa video? Sherpa video. Where are you? Those of you guys that are interested, we have already we've had almost 200 people already apply, so it's gonna be pretty difficult to get that 10, but I'll post it anyway for anybody that's wondering. Here it is. So I'm going to be doing a specific Sherpa program, and this is not for new players to Escape from Tarkov. I will still be doing like the... Why is this loading? It won't let me link it. What's going on here? I'll just do this. So this is my video explaining what the Sherpa program is. I am specifically going to be doing a Sherpa program to teach Sherpas to then teach people how to efficiently play in 5-man groups in Escape from Tarkov. Because Escape from Tarkov is supposed to be a squad game. It's supposed to be 5 people working together, playing together to move through Escape from Tarkov, or move through Tarkov to Escape from Tarkov. And there's going to be a lot of features that are coming up in the future that affect that squad gameplay and help with that squad gameplay. So it'll be very useful for you guys to be able to understand how to work as a squad. So compose was the word I was looking for. Thank you. Compose was the word I was looking for. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, as long as we don't have a patch this week, I will be choosing those 10 people, those first 10 people this weekend. How do you think they'll prevent trolling with the VoIP? They won't. They really won't. But no, if you are worried about VoIP, that Nikita is absolutely terrified about VoIP. So he's going to do right by you. He's the only reason why VoIP is taking this long is because Nikita is absolutely terrified about it, so they want to make sure they do it correctly. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work the same as other games. So with Rust, you're going to be able to respawn. You're going to be able to jump in there. With the other games like PUBG and all those the BRs and stuff like that, where you jump into a game probably every 5 or 10 minutes if you die, then there's going to be loads of people that can figure out where you are because they can see where you are on the map exactly, and they can come hunt you down. That kind of thing. It's not going to work the same. It's just not. Not to mention, you can kill them very easily if they are talking because it's proximity, so you can hunt them down pretty easily. Or if it's over a radio, then you can just turn your radio off. Any cosmetic items or gear you would like to see or have ideas for? Lots, but we're getting up towards the end of the stream here, man, so we can have that for a different subject for a different day. Spleef. Good question, though. Thank you. Wasn't just co-hyped, by you, so to say, but I thought BSG did a good job of their own, but just Reflex X. Yeah, it was just deflating. Deflating is the right word for me there. It just kind of deflated me, significantly with just the progress and stuff like that. What do you think of a Barrett 50 cal type rifle? They already said that the Barrett doesn't make too much sense to be in Tarkov, but that was before they've done everything that they're doing now, so maybe the Barrett might end up happening. But 408, 400, whatever. I think it's 408 Chi-Tac. All that stuff is coming. Check out my most recent Future Gun video of Escape from Tarkov. That stuff's all planned. What are some aesthetic item gears you would like to see? Spleef, same thing. Sorry I didn't get to that, but it's like, yeah, it's topic for another day. It would be really cool to see basically a bunch of stuff. Actually, you know what? Here's a quick answer for you. I'm the believer when it comes to like the masks and stuff. If there was anything that a modern day like cocky bank robber would wear, I would like to see it in Escape from Tarkov. Nothing too crazy, but like, some Payday 2 stuff would be interesting. Some like clown masks and stuff like that. I thought that would be kind of interesting. But yeah, anything that like a modern day bank robber, anything that a modern day like cocky bank robber would wear, I think would be cool. Nikita deserves much more love. He's such a cool guy, but people only always see what's wrong with the game. It's not people in general, so that's why you're kind of overextending that a little bit. There is a significant portion of the community that just doesn't care. Like they just want to see like the win wipe stuff, all that other stuff. It's like it makes sense to be disappointed. It makes sense to give feedback, but then there's the hatred, like the utter hatred that comes out of people for no fucking reason on the internet. It just amplifies 10 times whenever they've spent money on anything. So if they have their expectations with Escape from Tarkov, they've spent money on it, however misguided or whatever those expectations might be of what the game is supposed to be. They've spent money on it, so now Nikita's in charge of making those expectations become a thing or whatever. And he's the guy that's stopping them, so that for some reason they just get fucking furious at him. And I just don't get it. I don't get it personally. So I'm hoping to stay I'm not hoping, but my plan is the right word to use there. My plan is stay as positive as possible, but stay honest. So that's what today was about. I understand. Been a weird 6 months here. Been a little bit weird, but yeah. We'll keep on top of it. We'll see what happens with 12.11, and we'll keep chugging along here without like straight up harassing Nikita and straight up harassing BSG about it, because they're starting to shut down a little bit. Morning, Ruduck. Didn't Nikita say that they were finalizing the patch during clean stream? They're testing it, yes. But things can happen during testing streams. Things can happen. They might find a new bug. They might find some new issues. Now, do I still think it's going to be soon? Yes. Am I going to hold my breath? No. Are you sure we are going to see a dev stream for 12.11? As I can remember, they didn't have one for 12.9. Yes, they did. They had one for 12.9. In fact, I think they had a couple. Hell, what are you talking about? Kenny, you're completely wrong, actually, because that's when they announced it. They did have a dev stream, and that's when they said, oh, and by the way, we were lying, the wipe is tomorrow. That was the dev stream. They were sitting there in the BSG offices saying, like, oh, and by the way, this is a wipe, and it's tomorrow. That was the dev stream. So you're misremembering that there, buddy. Kenny. Assuming 12.11 makes all the sites crisp, clean, and accurate, what will be your preferred red dot site? I still really like the Hollow, and I don't know the name of it, but it's that circular one that kind of comes up as like a half cylinder. I think that looks really cool. I'd like to see what that looks like, or if that's usable in terms of like ergo and stuff like that. I like those. Hollow is really my go-to. I really like the Hollows. And then of course No, it's not a red dot, but the PLAD's going to be on there at some point. PLAD, I just like the PLAD. Unless they add another scope that looks like the PLAD and has the dust covers, I just like to look at the dust covers. Until they add something like that, PLAD's my go-to, to be honest. Taco Irish, how you doing? Do you think they'll add Linux support? They have some job openings up publicly, up on the BSG website, and several of them are for Linux. So I think they're pushing towards that. I just don't know a date or anything. They are literally looking to hire Linux devs right now. So hopefully that helps you. Hopefully that answers your question. The 6.8 SCAR that I think you're referring to is a conversion kit. The people are also choosing the 300 Blackout over 6.8 Specialized kit. Okay, thanks, Nova. I think last question. Let me see if they can grab one. You need compatible mice and graphics. Oh, that sucks if that's true. Aesthetic gear. Already got that question. Ban word wipe, please. No, we don't do that here. Will a streamer item? No. Anyway, guys, we'll reset this a little bit. I thought I was going to be able to grab one more question there, but I think I got everyone, so we'll reset that just a little bit. That's going to do it for today. That is going to do it for today. I really appreciate everyone coming and hanging out. If I missed any of your questions, Shames, go check out my most recent the DevCast update there. A little bit too late with those questions there. I should have done my normal going once, going twice, normal thing. Anything like that. I got to reset this a couple times because I really like this as an outro. Anyway, that's going to do it for today, guys. I will be back soon. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be doing these every day. If something happens today or if they have a podcast tomorrow, if they announce that there's going to be a podcast tomorrow, then I will be back tomorrow. But as of right now, guaranteed Good Morning Tarkovs every Thursday. At least every Thursday, maybe every Monday and Thursday. You'll hear a video. You'll hear me talking about that on the Discord. Make sure you join the Discord, by the way, to stay in the know with everything going on with the community. But other than that, to stay in the know with everything Escape from Tarkov, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Lots of things to come, lots of cool things. A very interesting topic that ended up coming from someone from one of these streams. I'm going to make a video about that. That's going to be going up either today or tomorrow, depending, again, on whether there's going to be a podcast or not. But other than that, guys, like I said, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything Tarkov. Go and join the Discord to stay up to date with everything in the community and not just Escape from Tarkov. We got a lot of Star Citizen stuff going on there. And we also have the Ashes of Creation Alpha coming up soon. Thank you guys very much for hanging out today. I love you, and I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.